OTF Muwop reacts to facing life in prison, leaked evidence. Recently, OTF Muwop and several others were arrested in connection to the death of up-and-coming Chicago rapper FBG Duck. Facing RICO charges, the recent Lil Durk signee now faces the possibility of spending substantial time behind bars and has unexpectedly opened up about the situation. Thanks for joining us on Lime Report. Before we jump into this video, be sure to comment keyword OTF for a chance of winning our giveaway, and subscribe for more videos. Days ago, recent Only the Family signee OTF Muwop, along with 4 of his associates, were arrested in connection to the death of Carlton Weekly, also known as FBG Duck. Although litigation has only just begun, the young rapper faces serious time in prison if convicted. The reason for the harsh punishment comes from the severity and recklessness of the crime committed. FBG Duck was a young rapper hailing from the St. Lawrence area, known to many as Tukaville in honor of fallen gangster disciple member Tuka. The young rapper was well on his way to fame and fortune that music promises, but made a few key mistakes along the way. In Chicago, there have been several gang factions feuding for well over a decade, and hailing from Chi, FBG Duck was dragged into the war from an early age. As a young teen, Duck would sometimes get himself into trouble, but luckily he managed to escape mostly unscathed. However, as he grew, the situation grew increasingly more dangerous until he was forced to watch his back every time he was out and about. At the same time, Duck was worried about the status of his music career and allegedly made the fatal mistake of mocking his dead ops on one of his songs. Soon after the diss track of The Dead was released, FBG Duck was brutally gunned down while standing in line at a Gold Coast clothing store. The assassination was carried out in broad daylight, much to the shock of local law enforcement, and the assailants hit 2 other bystanders in the process. 5 suspects were arrested for the 2020 murder of Chicago rapper FBG Duck. The men arrested were Charles C. Murder Liggins, Kenneth Kenny Robertson, DeCarlos Los Offord, Christopher C. Thang, Thomas and Marcus Muwop Smart. According to local law enforcement, each man had a hand in the violent killing. Federal prosecutors say Lowe's purchased the car, which was used as the lead vehicle in the shooting, in his own name. The young man also returned the vehicle just hours after the shooting had occurred. Although his team had argued that buying the car or returning it didn't prove that he had anything to do with the slaying, things only seemed to be getting worse for some of the men in question. Since the arrest and indictment of Muwop and his associates, many have been split in the middle on that matter. While some, like Lashina Weekly, Duck's mother, believe that justice will soon be at hand, others are skeptical as to whether prosecutors will be able to close the case. So far, there doesn't seem to be much hard evidence against Muwop or the others, but then again, this is just the beginning of what will likely be a long legal battle. Chicago has been faced with a raging war for over a decade now. That war has been waged between rival gang factions in increasingly unconventional ways in an effort to elude police. So far, these means have been working as Chicago has been running in circles trying to get ahead of the growing feud. The fighting stems from the quarreling Black disciples and gangster disciples. Rooted from back in the days when Chief Keef still roamed around Southside Chicago, the 2 factions have clashed for over a decade. FBG Duck was known to be unaffiliated with the gangster disciples, while Muwop and the others are known to be with the Black disciples. When Duck decided to make fun of the deceased enemies on a diss track, it didn't go unnoticed, and ultimately it ended up being the last mistake he would ever be allowed to make. Recently, the war in Chicago has been the source of most of the tragedy surrounding that part of the hip-hop scene. Even the opposite sides are named after members of each faction that have lost their lives in the battle, Oblock and Tukaville, respectively. In this war, it seems that no one will end up winning unless the entire thing ceases to exist. Only then can there be peace. But with so much bad blood spilled between both sides, that would be a pretty tough end to achieve. Muwop has been slowly raising his status among the OTF group, and his recent signing showed just that. Lil Durk has always been known to play things close to the vest and doesn't let just anyone into the fold. So for Muwop to be accepted means that he is a trusted member of the crew. Lil Durk has recently become one of the biggest names in hip-hop, and as long as he is backing Muwop, even a life sentence wouldn't be enough to bring the young rapper down. Some believe that his arrest was the result of a friend potentially snitching on the aspiring star. Others think that he was caught as a result of a sloppy plan. Whatever the case may be, it's clear that OTF Muwop will be doing all that he can in order to secure his freedom. The death of FBG Duck was indeed tragic. But at the end of the day, the truth will only be granted to those who win the case. And in Muwop's case, it definitely looks like he has the advantage with powerful names backing him. Thanks for watching the Lime Report. Don't forget to comment keyword OTF for a chance of winning our giveaway and subscribe for more videos.